Here we go. All right. This is a one-on-one interview with Andrew Levitt. It's so good to talk to you today.
It's nice to talk to you. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So where in the world are you right now? You're on tour?
Yeah, we're on tour. We're in Detroit, Michigan right now, it's cold and snowy, but I love it. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell you it's going to be much better when you get here. So you're originally from Ohio?
Yeah, I'm from Northeast Ohio. I'm from a community called Canton. But I was born here. Actually, I was born in Detroit, but I grew up in Canton, and then I moved to Columbus for college. So
okay,
yeah.
And you always wanted to do perform in some way?
Yeah, I think, I found that I remember seeing the first show I ever saw, in a professional production I ever saw, I think was Cats in like 1984, maybe a national tour. I was really young. So I might have been like 6 years old. And I remember seeing those actors on stage and like watching them going, that's exactly what I want to do with the rest of my life, is I want to be on stage. Not a cat. I think I thought I wanted to be a cat. And then, it just kind of grew from there. And every experience I had with the arts changed me and shaped me and just was a reaffirmation that that's what I needed to do. So I think it's kind of how I found my path here. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite musical that you like?
Oh my gosh. I love all musicals in a one way or another, even if they're terrible. Sondheim I love Sondheim. I love Into the Woods. I love Company. I love the classics. I love The Sound of Music. I remember, I have such fond memories of the film, as a kid, when, before there was even VHS tapes, there was, you only had your television and you had we all gathered around the television when it would always air every year. It would air like once a year and you watch it. And then the VHS tapes the dawn of the VHS tape came out, and you'd have two different VHS tapes. You'd have to, act one would end and you'd have to put second tape in for act two. And
exactly. And you're actually one of the first people to say that was your favorite Sound of Music, because that is my favorite. I think it is just, it hits all the right notes. I mean, it's just everything. So
I love it. I also love Mary Poppins. I'm a Julie Andrews fanatic. Mary Poppins is like my very, very, if you would call it a musical, the film version. The stage version is okay, but I love the film version.
Yeah. She came to the Chicago Theater and did a whole talk back and everything. She was great, and anyway, we could go on and on about Julie Andrews. So what led you to Hairspray? What was the journey to get to Hairspray?
So, where do I start? I was under Drag Race, right? And I think first and foremost, I should say, I really wanted to do theater. I fell into drag, and drag kind of consumed me. And I went down that path for 18 years, and I did and have done and continue to do drag as the character of Nina West, and got on Drag Race in 2018. We filmed in 2018. My season aired in 2019. And that changed my whole life. Every kind of opportunity was at my fingertips. I just had to motivate myself to do the work, right? And because it's all happening so quickly and there's not enough time in any one given day to do it. So the one thing I think that was the precipice for this happening, like of a great decision, was the fact that I did Harvey Fierstein for Snatch Game. And I did two characters. I did Harvey and I did Joanne Worley. And Jerry Mitchell, who was the original choreographer on Hairspray, went on to direct Legally Blonde and choreograph Legally Blonde, directed Kinky Boots. He's just brilliant. Saw Snatch Game, saw my Harvey, and I guess it just stuck in the back of his mind. And then I was in Indianapolis in I think it was July or August of 2019, and my phone rang, and it was a New York City area code, and I thought it was my agent, and it was Jerry Mitchell. And Jerry said, I had a dream about you last night. You were Edna, you need to be my Edna. And I thought, well, I started to cry, one, and then two, I couldn't believe that this was happening. And he said, I'll call you, I'll be in touch. Months went by. That was 2019. And then December of 2019, or November of 2019, Jerry called back, said, no, we're doing this for real. We're actually going to remount Hairspray, and it's going to be a national tour. And we really would like to know your interest in portraying Edna Turnblad. And it was a no-brainer for me. It was the most logical kind of progression, I think, for my career professionally, but it was also a dream role. This is like a dream come true to be able to do this. I was fortunate enough to see Harvey do the role in 2002 at the Neil Simon, and like 3 days before it opened.
Oh.
And so like Harvey's like like for many gay men, Harvey's a really important voice, and I was like enamored with Harvey. In college, I studied Torch Song Trilogy, and I'm just a really big Harvey fan. I couldn't say that louder or bigger. And for this to happen was such a dream come true. And then I went to New York in January, and I met with Jack O'Brien, who's a legendary theater director who directed Hairspray on Broadway initially, and sat with Jack and Jerry. And then I prepped for a work session with both of them. They're convinced by my look, but they wanted to see how I worked, and they wanted to see my acting and my singing. And so I prepped for a work session. I flew back to New York in March for that work session, and legitimately, we had confirmed everything like March 9th, and then everything shut down on March 13th. And I sat with this idea that the Hairspray wasn't going to happen, which was really heartbreaking for me. And for a time period there, it wasn't going to happen. And then about halfway through the pandemic, Miss Pandemic, halfway through, I got the call that it was going to happen. And so that was kind of my path with it. It was a lot of stop and start initially, and then the pandemic happened, and it was a big stop. And now here we are doing our best, right? We're on the road where our unsaid cast members COVID, and sometimes we have, like last night we didn't have a show. So we're just doing the best we can in this environment, and grateful for incredible partners in our theaters and our audiences it's heartbreaking and frustrating, but also who are showing so much patience and grace as we navigate this world right now. And so it's it's difficult, but it's I tell you, it's worth it. When this curtain goes up on this show and you feel the energy of this music. Sorry, I talk long. I'm a long talker.
You answered a lot of my questions, so you're doing well.
But like when the music starts and you hear this Mark Shaman, Scott Whitman score, and it's like you're transported almost immediately. And I think the show is so vital right now because we needed like a shot in the arm of joy. Not only do we need our vaccinations, we need like a shot in the arm of joy and of hope. And I think we've gone away from this world where hope is seen as being hopeful or hope-filled or positive is seen as almost a negative trait. And here we see our protagonist, Tracy Turnblad, who is like this ball of energy, who's just like, I'm so happy, I'm so proud, I'm so excited. And with this unrelenting joy and positivity, I just think it's something we all could use right now.
Absolutely. We definitely do. I was just going to say, Jerry Mitchell came to Pretty Woman the musical. He popped in to Chicago.
Yeah.
So has he been popping in? Maybe he'll come here too. Who knows?
Hopefully he goes to Chicago. I think Chicago's going to be a big stop for some of our friends. So hopefully he goes to Chicago. I don't know if he's coming, but he has popped in on the road, and he's come to see us and given us incredible notes. Like Jerry is the living, breathing personification of what it means to live your life full out, and that's it's kind of his motto. It's like full out, be full out. Everything is full out. Every intention, every belief, every moment should be full out. Mm-hmm. And what a great, why do anything half-assed? Why walk through this world not really being deliberate in your intention and in your heart and in your speech and in your integrity? Be very intentional. Mm-hmm. And that's being in his presence is I mean, what a gift. That man knows what the hell he's talking about, and he knows how to share his joy. And so many people, we pick up, we fumble with how to figure out how to communicate ourselves to the world. And my gosh, he's a masterclass in learning how to be your authentic self and find success in being you. And like, that's inspiring to be around. And like, that's another wonderful joy of this project has been that.
Yeah, and he's a really nice guy. I like.
Oh my God, he's so nice.
Everything in the past, he was great for Kinky Boots and everything. So how do you get to make Edna your own? What moments do you get to have where you can kind of break away from everyone else that's done it before?
Oh well, that's the question, isn't it? I mean, you know, you see, I mean, it's not at all overwhelming, but it's, you know, it's really first and foremost Divine, and then Harvey, and then these incredible greats along the way: John Panette, Paul Vogt, Michael McKeon, you know,
John Travolta,
Bruce Valanche. I mean, who'd you say?
I said John Travolta.
Yeah, I mean, there's John Travolta's version too. And actually, I went back and I didn't watch John's version while I was working on I was doing my work. So for the last 2 years that I have had the iteration of this idea, and then actually working on this idea, I didn't watch John. I watched a couple things of Divine to really pay homage to Divine. And I did watch a couple interviews with Harvey, but I didn't watch Harvey's performance. And that was really deliberate and intentional. So when going back and watching John's performance, I was like, actually found it really charming. Now that I was in it and doing it, I was like, you know, actually, I think that's a really fair and lovely, beautiful version of Edna. And when I saw it, I was like, I don't really care for it. And then I was like, oh my God, no. I went back and watched it. I was like, I actually think I love his Edna. And well, she wasn't, you know, I don't think I gave her a fair shake.
People probably didn't. It's fair.
You know, so, but anyway, I think, yeah, like the question is like, this is an iconic theater role. It's one of the great, I think it's a really great theatrical role that, you know, my task is Herculean, and that I have to, and also very simple. You know, I need the audience to believe that I'm a woman. I need them to believe that I'm this girl's mom. And so I really just looked to the greats, and I just allowed myself to understand that everything is based in truth. Everything is based in reality. And as a drag queen, as a drag performer, who is so used to being over the top and so used to like being like, look at me, this is, I had to like really hone it in and find the believability in my actions. And Edna, at the end of the day, is all heart and soul. Edna is the heart of this production. She is, you know, you get to see as the audience, you get to see her full transformation when she starts out as this, you know, pin curled, sad looking laundress. And then, you know, halfway through Act 1, she gets to go to Mr. Pinky's, you know, and she gets to live out her fantasy after being locked away into her apartment for 20 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then she has a full, you know what I mean? Then she gets to come out of the cocoon at the end and have this full blown, really, truly, start to finish, she has a whole change.
Yeah.
And it's that change happens over the 2.5 hours that we're together. Yeah. And it's slow. And I really sat in that, and I rested in that. And I just wanted to like connect my heart to the heart of the character. And I think she's vulnerable. I think my Edna is vulnerable. I think she is sensitive, emotional. And I think she is, but I also think she is believably cares so deeply for her kid, Tracy, and her husband, Wilbur. And I think that those are her greatest joys, her greatest gifts, and also her greatest concerns. And so I really just tried to rest in, I think, being authentic to my own voice. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds so simple and cheesy, right? Because it's like, well, I mean, like, how is it different? And it's like, I couldn't tell you how it's different. I just think by me stepping in these massive heels or flats or what have you, by nature of the business and by nature of the actor portraying it, she is different. And I'm quite fond of her, and I hope the audiences love her too. I think I love her. And she's formed a great deal of my life over the last 4 months in ways that I never kind of imagined. Yeah.
how is the getting ready for the role? What's behind the scenes as far as getting dressed? How does that compare to Nina West, and how is getting ready for Edna? What's the differences?
I mean, like with Edna, I'm not like with the first 40, 35 minutes of the show, she is really like, I'm not concerned at all. Like, it's like, all right, she's got, I'm adding some really dark circles under my eye, and like, I'm not like, it's, the intention is so different, right? Like, it's, I'm creating, Nina is such a fabulous, bright, vibrant character from the jump. She is loud and this big ball of energy. Edna is like, it's just the energy. In turn, the makeup is so different, right? And and that's I think one of the things I get to bring with me on this journey is the fact that I have this ability to do makeup. And so the audience may never know it, but there are all these subtle changes throughout the show where like the makeup is adjusting, the contour, like her face goes from really contoured to like, as we get to the final scene, it's much lighter and there's much more, it's more open and it's more ready to accept the world through makeup. And I don't know, I think, but like the whole process is, I mean, honestly, in all nuts and bolts, and the most simple issue is it takes me 20 minutes to do her makeup, Edna, and it takes to start, I'm doing it throughout the show. And then Nina takes me like 2 hours. So, it's like, I have to, like, I'm like fully ready to walk on stage with Nina with my wig glued down, and like in about 2 hours. With Edna, it's like, okay, makeup's done in 20 minutes. And then like, I put on a fat suit and a slip and go down to hair, and they put my hair on. I mean,
I hope we froze you. Hold on 1 second. Okay. We froze you for a second.
Oh, I'm on terrible hotel Wi-Fi, so I apologize.
No problem. You dedicated the performance to Kathy Wrigley. Can you explain who she is? Is she a friend of yours?
What's that?
You dedicated your performances to Kathy Wrigley in your notes. Is that a teacher of yours, or?
Yeah, she was a teacher of mine who actually drove me to my first audition, and at a community theater in my hometown. And she passed away this year, and she passed away in 2021. And so I didn't have the chance to share this news with her. I know she would have been so proud, but she's the reason why. I mean, you have a lot of people in your life. I just recently read Billy Porter's memoir, and he calls those people in his life his angels, like those people who made you in the time period you're not really thinking about it, but who made direct changes on your path. And she was one of those people for me. She absolutely changed my life. She embraced me as a queer kid. I went to a Catholic school. I went to a Catholic high school, and she embraced me as a queer kid who wasn't out, who wasn't able to be out, who didn't have the safety net to be out. Mm-hmm. She taught me the joys of Broadway musicals. I would walk into her classroom, and she would have a new musical playing every day, and she would talk. I would always be the first one there, and she'd talk about the show, and I would learn about the show. Then I go to the library and I pick up the cast recording on the weekend. I mean, like there was so much education and love and fostering of growth for me by that woman, and she changed my life. She absolutely changed my life.
That's so cool. So what do you think of RuPaul's Drag Race, the new season? What's your thoughts on how it is now?
Yes, honey. Hop, hop. Backbench. Snatch. House down boots. See, I'm a drag queen. I speak the lingo. I love Drag Race. And I love what the show does for the art form. I love what it does for our community. It's interesting to see such a queer art form be so embraced by our cis hetero counterparts in such a way that is like, I mean, it's changed the art form, and that's really exciting and cool. and you know, the new season of Drag Race is fantastic. I'm obsessed with cornbread. I am like the rest of the country. I'm obsessed with cornbread. I've gotten to work. I worked with her once over the pandemic.
Huh.
And when I flew to Los Angeles, they did a show at Precinct, and she was in the show, and I was just like, oh, and I had heard rumor that she was on before she was announced, and you know, people are gonna love her. I mean, she is. She's just insane. And I love Willow, and I mean, I'm in love with the cast just as much as everybody else is. The same, like I'm just in love with this group of people, and I love that the show is keeping it fresh. I love this chocolate bar. You mean, honey, I wouldn't be able to wait. I'd be like, I gotta eat this chocolate bar, honey, because I'm hungry.
How do you peel it open? Just
to break, they pull the bar out and be like, oh my God, you get a chocolate bar, but I have a golden ticket.
Yeah. Why don't they just do a season for the Miss Congeniality winners? Like, why don't we just put them all together and make a best friends drag race?
I mean, let me tell you, that would be the cattiest. It would probably be the bitchiest, cattiest season ever. I mean, like that's what would be the greatest thing about it, because the congenialities are me, Heidi, Lala, Monet. I mean, like Latrice, Pandora. It would be Katya. It would be such a good season. It would be such a good season. Yeah. I don't think it'd be sunshine and lollipops though.
Yeah, true. The Nina West Fund, that's contributing. I just wanted to talk about that so people could donate and things. It covers a lot of different charities, right? Is that how it works? And could you explain that?
Yes, so the Nina West Foundation is a charitable foundation based out of the Columbus Foundation, which is based in Columbus, Ohio, and it's a 501c3, and we basically give money to specifically LGBTQIA+ causes. Whether they be voter rights activations for specifically LGBTQIA+ BIPOC communities who are not receiving access or education surrounding their rights to vote, whether it be trans issues, specifically our LGBTQIA+ youth, whether it be homelessness or having a suicide prevention. So we really, I think where all of that stems from is when I was a kid, I grew up feeling very alone. And I think this is a common thread with a lot of queer people. I felt so alone. And I had, like I said, I had some people very few people who kind of grabbed me and embraced me and carried me. And I don't want people to feel alone. I don't want our next generation, I don't want them to feel alone. And kids are coming out younger. And like, so when you see these things that are happening in Florida, which are baffling and terrifying to me, that there can't be teachers can't talk about gender identity issues or LGBTQIA+ issues or queer issues or gay things in the classroom, like they're basically throwing kids away. They're throwing away our LGBTQIA+ youth. And so what the foundation does is we're like, and now we have more work to do. Like the work is never done. And that's something that we all have to really understand. Like both as a whole, as a country, but then as a community of queer people, is we've got to really pull together, and we have to learn how to have conversations together to make sure we have activation and make really positive moves together, because it's not stopping the people who are working against us. They're very organized and they're very unified, and they're definitely not pausing in their energies to silence us or to try to erase us. And the foundation is there to provide voice and to provide support in financial resources to organizations. And if you can make a donation to the charity, that's great. You don't even have to make a donation to the Nina West Foundation. You can find an organization in Chicago that desperately needs your support. And you can either volunteer, you can give your money, you can give your time, your talent, or your treasure. And that's how I learned as a young drag queen. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any time because I was working all the time. I was a servant, I was doing drag. But then I found out, wait a minute, I could do a number at the end of my show, and I could take all those tips and I could donate it to an organization like Stonewall Columbus, and that just built and built and built and built, and it grew into what it is today, which is the Nina West Foundation. But if you're watching this wherever you might be, know that you can say, I'm just one person. I don't have any ability. It doesn't matter. it matters. Your voice matters, your action matters, and your time, your talent, or your treasure matter. And so, and we need to hopefully motivate everyone to come together, to band together to help specifically talk about these issues. Our BIPOC communities and our LGBTQIA+ communities and our definitely our youth, and the silencing and the erasure of our community.
Thank you for, oh my gosh, thank you for all that. I don't know how to thank you for that. How do people donate? Where do they go?
So you can go to the columbusfoundation.org and you just put in the Nina West Foundation and you'll find it there. Or you can always look, do a Google search for in your community of Chicago and look up LGBTQIA+ organizations and make sure that they are 501c3 and donate gladly to those organizations as well.
Nice. And then everyone can go to broadwayinchicago.com to get tickets for Hairspray.
Yes.
It's 1st to the 13th at the CIBC Theater. And we're going to come get our hair done. And
honey, it's right by Valentine's Day too. Hello, what a good gift.
Yes, bring it back. Yes, awesome. Well, I look so forward to meeting you face to face.
I can't wait to meet in person.
Yeah, I'll meet you at the stage door after the show. And I am so thrilled to talk to you today. And
thank you.
See you soon. Okay.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. All right.
Bye.